Texas Congressman Kevin Brady went on to Chuck Todd, MTP Daily, and did what he does best: lie, misinform, and everything in between about the economic model, etc. Let's listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
It does feel as if Washington Republicans, many people like yourself and maybe Senator Tim Scott and Senator McConnell, still want to have the Republican Party be the party of fiscal discipline. But it doesn't look like that's a message that's taking hold inside the party. Do you think the party has lost its interest, that the rank and file has moved in another direction? They lost their interest in these deficits?
Yeah, great question. Absolutely not. I think that this rising deficit keeps most Republicans awake, and especially right now, because clearly we're seeing just an unprecedented spending spree on a lot of programs that Americans don't necessarily want or need, and it's going to land obviously on our children. I think the biggest issue right now is what we can do for the debt is to grow this economy. The president's been fortunate. He inherited a strong recovery and life-saving vaccines. But I think right now, I worry he's sabotaging the jobs recovery because of these crippling tax hikes. I think it's going to land on working families, will drive jobs overseas. And look, that's the last thing we need right now.
Well, you talk about, look, the fiscal issues. Your party, when it is in charge, has not once lowered the debt, not once lowered the deficit. It's not happened. You know this. It is not happened.
So that's
Why?
a bit, yeah. So Chuck, that's a bit misleading because my first several years in Congress, we balanced the budget as a Republican Congress. The debt went up, of course,
and
because of the way
president.
we borrow Social Security and Medicare. Yes, in a Republican Congress, because the Democrat president didn't do it when he had a Democrat Congress. And by the way, in the 2 years after the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, we had the two highest record levels of income and revenue into the United States government. So we know if you grow the economy, you grow revenues.
It is not misleading. Republicans have had full control of the government multiple times in the 21st century, and the debt has skyrocketed both times. Why?
So, as have Democrat leaders as well. Now, you know, most recently we came together in 4 or 5 bipartisan bills to tackle this pandemic, crush this virus, respond to what was going on in our hospitals and healthcare, and save our small businesses. I supported those bipartisan measures because that's what we needed to get crush this virus and get out of this economic crisis.
All right, notice what he did there. I'm going to take the last one first. He told them, look, you guys have been in total control of the government 2 times in the last few decades. And every single time, the budget skyrocketed. And the reason the budget skyrocketed whenever they had complete control of government is they are anathema to taxes. They will not raise taxes, but at the same time, they will go ahead and spend money to give away tax cuts and all that sort of stuff. But the way they raise taxes is sort of things like user fees and all that sort of thing. And that is the reason why they have always exploded the budget. There's nothing fiscally responsible, nothing conservative about conservatives in Congress. They have never fulfilled the promise. When Ronald Reagan, and by the way, the second thing I want to talk about, when they talk about spending like they're spending like crazy, and they balance the budget once. They actually did balance the budget once under Bill Clinton, but it wasn't they who balanced the budget. We have to remember, I wrote a book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, where I went through the presidencies of Carter, the presidency of Reagan, the presidency of Bush 1, Bush 2, early Obama, as well as under Clinton when the budget was balanced. And the reason the budget got balanced under Bill Clinton is Bill Clinton followed up on Bush 1, who said, remember Bush 1 said, read my lips, I won't raise taxes. And you know what he did? In the last year, he had to raise taxes because he couldn't deal with this exploding budget. And then came in Clinton, didn't get not one Republican vote, not one Republican vote in the House, not one. But he raised taxes and the economy exploded. Everybody always talk about how great the Reagan economy was, right? He created 16 million jobs or something like that. Guess who? I explained it in this book and I explained why. As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Here's why. Because Clinton created many more jobs than did Reagan. Clinton had a more powerful economy than Reagan. And the reason why is simple, it's not rocket science, is the people who you can tax, the people who have pilfered your money, who have your excess labor in their wealth, when you tax them, you bring that money back into the economy where it circulates. And what does that circulation provide? More jobs. So when you hear Kevin Brady, Republican Kevin Brady, when you hear him say, he's going to kill jobs by raising taxes. No, raising taxes correctly create jobs because it creates demand. You take the money from people who are not spending it, people who hoarded it, people who got it undeservedly based on an economic fraud that is our economic system. We take back some of that money, we put it back into the economy, and we let it function. It is that simple. Now, when he talks about Biden spending, here's the problem. Biden hasn't started spending except for the $2 trillion for the relief package. The real money to be spent isn't there yet. What's going to really fly this economy hasn't gotten into the economy yet. We have to get it passed. Likely we'll have to bust the filibuster to get some of that passed. But I want to know what planet this guy lives on. He's saying Biden wants to provide money for things that people don't even want. That is the problem with these Congress people. They don't understand the suffering that goes on in America. They don't understand that many people are not going back to work because they don't have what to do with their kids. Their kids need daycare. How can they provide daycare when the cost of daycare is equivalent to more than the minimum wage job many of them would go to? How? Many of them have health issues. How could they get themselves healthy to go back to work when they can't afford to go to a clinic, when they don't have insurance, when they are in states like Texas that's murdering their citizens by not allowing them to have the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act? Again, people, these guys live on another planet. He claims in 18 months we are going to have the House again. If the American people give these criminals the House again in 18, after they've attempted to overthrow the government, after they're telling you that they're not going to provide you with the assistance that you need to lift yourself up, after they're telling you, they're not hiding it from you, they're telling you, we don't think you need what Dr. Biden is providing to you with tax increases on the few, to make sure that we can have an economy that serves the many. They're telling you, we don't want you to have that. If for some reason these guys are able to get themselves in control of the House and the Senate or the Senate, we repeat, America would have gotten exactly what it deserves. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.